Thank you very much. Once welcome you again to Mason African Motives. Today we are going to look at the AC questions and business studies grade 10, which is the preparations, which is in relation to preparations for term 3. So we are going to do the section C. As you know, always the section C is question 5 and question 6. So you are to choose one question, but as we are going to answer them all. So that is what you're going to do. So make sure that we are going to be together from the start of this presentation to the end. And please make sure that you are going to share with those who are going to, for those who are going to be interested. And don't forget to hit the subscription button. So without wasting much time, let us get to our business. So the question says, it says, answer any one question in this question. So that is our instruction. We are instructed to answer any one question in this section. But like I said, as we are going to answer them all. So there is a note here which says clearly indicate the question number. Very important. Clearly indicate the question number of each question chosen. So if you are choosing question 5, make sure that you're going to write question 5. If it's question 6, you write question 6. So the answer to the question must start on a new page. Example question 7 on a new page. Question 8 on a new page. So that is that. So now let's quickly go to question 5. And business ventures, whereby we are going to talk about a business plan, where we are going to mainly look at the business plan. So there is what the information or the statement that we are given scenario where it says business must have a clear understanding of a business plan and its components. Business plan is used as an instrument to guide proper planning in the business. Business must consider challenges of the macro environment when developing business plans. The purpose of executive summary must be clearly outlined. That is that. So now we are coming to another point where it says write an essay on the business plan and focus on the following aspect. So now we are asked to write an essay. So it's very important to take note of these aspects. Don't write your essay which is not in relation to the aspect that we are given. So you're going to write essay with the aspects that you are given. So that is very important. So here are the aspects. Outline the components of business plan. Explain the importance of business plan. Discuss the challenges of microenvironment using PESTLE analysis. Advise business on the purpose of executive summary in a business plan. So that is how we would write it. So like I've said last time, when you write an essay, make sure that you're going to first start by the introduction. You first start by introduction, which is 2 marks, free 2 marks that you're going to talk about anything that talks about business plan. So again, with these components, you're going to make them what? The headings, and under each aspect, now you're going to list the points. You're going to write it in a points form so that it will be more clearer and visible to the examiner. So that is very important. So now let us turn to the first aspect that we're given, where it says outline the components of the business plan. Outline the components of the business plan. So before we can go there, remember we are first to talk about what? The introduction. So before we can attend to the components of business plan, we first have to talk about what? The introduction. So let's quickly go to our answer book. So here we are. Here we are. We are going to add what? Introduction. That is our introduction. So under introduction, we are going to try by all means to explain what the business plan. Give an explanation of the business plan. So you're going to say a business plan. A business plan is a written document. Is a written document that gives an overview of the business. That gives an overview. That gives an overview of the business. So that is that. A business plan is a written document that gives an overview of the business. That is where we're going to talk about its operations, goals, and how it plans to achieve them. So it simply says it is going to provide structure and direction for the business. So that is that. That's how we explain what a business plan is. A written document that gives an overview of the business. That is where we are going to talk about it. We're going to talk about its operations. Its operations. We're going to talk about the goals of the business and how it plans to achieve them. And how it plans to achieve them. So that is that. So that is a business plan where we can even make an example where we can talk about a bakery. A bakery is going to write a plan showing how it will operate, its target market, who are going to be their suppliers, or who are going to be the suppliers of the business, and then as well as the expected profits. So that is that. Now let us move on. Let us move on to another. Now we are going straight to the aspects now. We are going straight to aspects which we're told that we are to talk about the components of the business plan. The components of a business plan. Of a business plan. Components of business plan. So that is that. So as you have seen that this is what we are asked to do. Outline the components of the business plan. So you can see now we are to talk about the components of the business plan. So the first component that we are going to talk about is what? We are going to talk about the description of the business. We're going to talk about the executive summary. Sorry, we're going to talk about executive summary. We first have to talk about the executive summary. So we are going to talk about the executive summary, which is what? A short summary, a short summary of the entire business plan. Of the entire business plan. That gives a quick overview. That gives a quick overview overview of the business idea. That gives a quick overview of the business idea. Overview of the business idea. So that is that. So it's going to give a quick overview of business idea or product. Talk about product or service and main goals. And main goals. So that is that. So we are saying the short summary of the entire business plan that gives a quick overview of the business idea, product, service, as well as the main goals. So with practical example, we can say, let's talk about a clothing store that is going to include on one page summary, highlighting its fashion range, their target markets, as well as their startup cost. So that is a short summary of the entire business, of the entire business plan. Where you are to know your idea, the products and service that you're going to do that you're going to sell. So that is that. So now we are moving on to another aspect, which is now the description of the business. Description of the business. We are talking about description of the business. That is that. So now we are to mention the points that are going to follow under the description of the business. So under description of the business, we want to explain it. That is where when we're going to do what? It explains what business does. Explains what the business does. Its products, or services, and what makes it unique. And what makes it unique. So that is that. And what makes it unique also mentions visions, also mentions visions, mission, and the legal setup. And legal setup. So that is that about the description of the business. This is where you're describing the business, what the business does, the product the business sells, and what makes it unique. So how is it different from other businesses? And also you're going to mention what the vision as well as the mission and the legal setup of the business. So all these are needed under the description of the business. So that is that. We can make an example there under description where we can talk about a cleaning company, explain what it offers. Eco-friendly cleaning services with biodegradable products. So that is that. They explain what they are going to offer, their products. That is that. eco-friendly. So it means that that's the uniqueness that we're talking about. Eco-friendly cleaning services with biodegradable products. So now let us move on to another aspect. So the other aspect that we are talk about is what? SWOT analysis. It's SWOT analysis. To talk about SWOT analysis. So here under SWOT analysis, this is where we're going to assesses the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Opportunities and threats of a business. So that is both internally and externally. That is that. We can also make an example under this component of a business plan, which is SWOT analysis, where we can say a coffee shop strength is its location, and the weakness is limited seating. The opportunities, delivery service, and threat is new competitors. So that is how we can assess. We are going to assess our strength under this coffee shop, where we can say our strength is what is the location where we are located. Maybe our business is located where it is busy, there are more customers, there is a density population, so it means more sales are going to be generated. But our weakness now is what? Limited city. Our customers now, they are not going to have enough space for sitting in our coffee shop. We can talk about limited sitting as our weakness. But opportunity now, that's when we are talking about, let's talk about delivery service. That's what is going to give us our opportunity. We are going to be able to manage to deliver our services effectively. So the threats now can be the competitors. Competitors who are going to now enter into that industry. So now let us move on to another aspect. The other aspect can be what? Marketing plan. Marketing plan. So under marketing plan, we are going to outline the strategies. Outline strategies to promote the business. That is where you're going to try by all means to attract customers and compete effectively. So that is that. This is another component of business plan, the marketing plan. This is where you're going to come up with strategies of trying by all means to promote the business, whereby you're going to make sure that you're going to attract customers and then you are going to compete effectively. That is that. So we can talk about an example to make it more clear. Let's talk about a fitness center which plans to advertise on social media and offer the referral discounts to attract new members. You see, that is a marketing strategy. So this fitness center is plans to advertise on social media where they are going to offer referral discounts for those people who can refer other customers to their business. So they are going to give them what? The discounts to attract new members. So that is that. That is a marketing plan that we need. Outline those strategies that are going to promote the business and bring in more customers so that we can have more sales and enjoy the profits. Hope we understand. Now we are coming to another component of business plan. Now we are going to talk about the operations plan. Operations plan. So under operations plans, we want the details of daily running of the business, details of running business in a daily basis. So we are going to say details of the daily running of the business. Of the daily running of the business. So we are saying details of the daily of the running of the business, the location, the equipment, and processes used to make products. And processes used to make products. Used to make products or deliver services. Or deliver services. So that is that. So that is the operations plan. So you're going to give us the details of the daily running of the business, location, equipment, and processes used to make products or deliver services. We can talk about a shoe factory as an example. A shoe factory plans, if the shoe factory's plans explains where shoes are made. That is now when you're talking about the locations. The factory, a shoe factory plan is going to explain where these shoes are made. That is location that we have talked about. Then the machines used. We are talking about the equipments now. The machines used and how production is scheduled. That is when you're talking about the processes used to make products or deliver services. So we can make an example, that practical examples of a shoe factory's plans must explain where shoes are made, the machines used, and how production is scheduled. Hope it makes sense. Now we're moving on to another aspect. Not aspect, but on another component of business plan, management plan. Management plan. So with management plan, this is whereby it shows the structure of the business, shows the structure of the business. Shows the structure of the business and roles of employees. And roles of the employees. And roles of the employees Often in an organogram. Often in an organogram. That is where we are talking about the hierarchy chart. That's when we are talking about the hierarchy chart. So that is that. It shows the structure of the business and roles of the employees, often in an organogram or a hierarchy chart. So that is that where I can now talk about, let's talk about restaurant. A restaurant lists the owner of the business. After the owner, there comes what? The manager of the business. After the manager comes the chefs. Then after the chefs comes the waiters, and after the waiters, now we talk of what? Cleaners in an organogram. You see, that is the hierarchy that we are talking about. That is why we are saying it shows the structure of the business and roles of the employees. Like we have just made an example of the hierarchy whereby you are going to talk about the owner of the business. Then comes the manager, chefs, waiters, cleaners. So that is that. So now let us move on to another component of business plan, which is financial plan. Financial plan. It's another component of the business plan. So this one covers the business financial projections. Covers the business financial projections like budgets, income statement, and cash flow. And cash flow forecast. And cash flow forecast for at least 3 years. Or at least 3 years. So that is financial plan. That is financial plan. So, under financial plan, you can come up with an example, or you can say, a tech company startup projects, it will earn 500,000. That is what we project. That is what we predict. A tech company startup projects, it will earn 500,000 in its second year with a clear plan for expenses and profits. So you see, we cover the business financial projections. That is the importance of this component. We are going to predict their finances, like whereby that is going to help us to make a very proper budget. So we're going to come up with the proper budget, come up with the income statement, the projection of it, projected cash flow forecast for at least 3 years. So that is that. So now we come to the importance of a business plan. So what you're talking about, we did outline the components of the business plan. So now we are to attend to explain the importance of what? Of business plan. Explain the importance of business plan. So now we are coming to the importance of business plan. The importance of business plan. Importance of business plan. Importance of business plan. So business plan helps set clear goals. It helps clear goals, secure funding, manage risks, and guide the business to growth. And guide the business to growth. And guide the business to growth. That is the importance of the business plan. Whereby you can make an example where you can say, an entrepreneur uses a business plan to secure loan from a bank to start a food truck. So that is that. He's going to use what? A business plan so that he can be able to secure a loan from the bank. He's going to come up with what? A sound business plan. The business plan that shows that there is a growth in it. The business plan that is very feasible. So that is that. So now we are moving on. We're moving on now to purpose of executive summary. Purpose of executive summary. That is that. Okay, we are to discuss what the challenges. Sorry. After the importance of business plan, we are to discuss the challenges of the macro environment using PESTLE analysis. So this is where we are to be. So the purpose of executive summary comes after. So I'm sorry for that. Now let's come to we are coming to the challenges of the macro environment. Challenges of the macro environment. Of the macro environment. Whereby we are using what? PESTLE analysis. We're going to use what? PESTLE analysis. Challenges of macro environment using PESTLE analysis. That is that. So we are coming to the challenges of macro environment using PESTLE analysis. Using PESTLE analysis. So we are first going to talk about the political factors. Political factors. Political factors, which is a P. So under political factors, you are going to give an explanation whereby now we are going to explain that the government policies, that is whereby we are talking about the government policies, laws, and regulations. That affect the business. That affect the business. That is when you talk about what? The political factors. You're talking about the government policies and the laws in the country and regulations that are going to affect what? A business. So that is under political factor. So an example that we can give under political factor, that is where we can say a new tax law increases operating costs for a retail shop. So you see now we're talking about what? A new tax law. When you're talking about law, a new tax law increases operating cost for a retail shop. You see, it's going to affect what? That tax law, new tax law is going to affect what? Our business. So that is that. So now we are moving on to economic factor. We are now moving on to economic factor. Economic factor. Economic factor. So under economic factors, that's when we are going to talk about economic conditions like economic conditions like inflation, interest rates, and the currency exchange, and currency exchange that affect or that impact a business. That impact a business. So we can make an example under the economic factor to make it more clear, whereby we are saying a baker's flour prices increase due to inflation. Because remember, we talked about what? Inflation. Due to inflation, a baker's flour prices increases and raising production cost. So a baker's flour prices increase due to inflation and raising production cost. So now the production costs are going to be they are going to increase as well. They're going to raise. So that is simple shows that that impact the business negatively. So now we are coming to another factor, which is now technological factor. It is now or social factor, social factors. Now we are talking about the social factor. So let us just do like this. Social factor. Social factors. So you can see now that this our S, that is our S, social factor. So this social factor, we are saying this is why we're going to talk about societal trends like culture, income levels, and demographics that influence demand. That's why we're going to talk about the societal, talking about societal trends like culture, income levels, and demographics. That influence demand. That influence demand. So that is that. So example, we can talk about a gym that offers more younger classes because more people are health conscious. So that is that. So talking about trends like culture, income levels, demographics, like that influence what? The demand. So now let us move on to another factor, which is technological factors. Technological factors. So that is where we're talking about the advancements in technology. We are talking about the advancements in technology. In technology that can help or harm business. That can help or harm a business. So that is that. So you can talk about an example where we say a bookstore creates an online store to meet customer demand for ebooks. So you see, that's technology, that's advancements. So that is that. So that is when you're talking about technological factor, which is our T. So now we're moving on to legal factor. Now we are moving on to legal factors. Legal factors. So with legal factor, we are talking about laws now and regulations. Laws and regulations. Business must follow. That business must follow. That businesses must follow. Like labor laws. Like labor laws or licenses. So that is that. Or licenses. So that is that under legal factors. So those are laws and regulations that business must follow, like labor laws, like licenses. We can talk of restaurants that needs a health and safety certificate to operate. See? So that is that. That is a license that they need for them to be able to operate. So that is legal factor. So that is a legal factor. That is the L. So now we are to come to environment. Now we are to come to environment. So with environment, we about environment factors. So this is where we're talking about chemicals, ingredients in business products, in business products, may be harmful to customers. May be harmful to customers. Or you can talk about measures to dispose of business waste. of business waste may be expensive. Measures to dispose of business waste may be expensive. So that is that under environment. So now we are to move on. So now we are to talk about the purpose of executive summary. We are to talk about the purpose of executive summary. As the question did say, advise the business on the purpose of executive summary in a business plan. So, purpose of executive summary is that it gives quick overview, gives a quick overview of the entire plan. Overview of the entire plan for BC investors. Or BC investors or lenders to understand the business idea. To understand the business idea. To understand the business idea. So now we are to go to conclusion. So now we are to conclude. Now we are to give what? The conclusion. Now we are to give the conclusion of question 5. So the conclusion can be, we can say, the purpose of executive summary of the executive summary plays major role in applying for business funding. Plays major role in applying business funding. So that is that you get your 2 marks under conclusion. So this is how you are supposed to do the question 5 essay question. So now we're going to move on to question 6. So now we are to attend to question 6. Question 6, it's all about business rules, creative thinking, and problem solving. So like question 5, we have to start by the introduction. Introduction, very important. So let us go and look at the questions under question 6. So here is our question 6, which reads as follows. Creativity and innovation are amongst the many other ways business can be competitive and increase their market share. Problem-solving cycle is a logical way of solving business-related problems. Using problem-solving techniques are only practical if the business is having an enabling environment that allows employees to be creative. So that is that. Sorry. So now it says, with the reference above the statement, write an essay on the following aspects. Write an essay of the following aspects. Elaborate on the meaning of creative thinking. Elaborate on the meaning of creative thinking. Explain the problem-solving cycle. Discuss how the business can apply brainstorming as a problem-solving technique. Recommend ways in which a business can create an environment that stimulate creative thinking. So these are the aspects that we are going to talk about after our introduction. So now we are moving on to our answer. Here is our answer book. Now we are to do the introduction under creative thinking and problem solving. So you can say creative thinking plays an important role in developing plays an important role in developing new ways to solve business problems. So that is that you get your 2 marks. Now we are moving on to the aspect that we are asked to talk about, which is creative thinking. It's what elaborate on the meaning of creative thinking. Then we are going to say meaning of creative thinking. Meaning of creative thinking. Meaning of creative thinking. So creative thinking, it means what? Solving what? It means solving problems in unconventional ways. Problems in unconventional ways. In unconventional ways. We can talk about a company facing a packaging shortages. Uses what? It uses a reusable containers to deliver products, reducing waste and costs. So that's been creative. That's been creative. So now let us move on. Let's move on. So okay, let us make it more in such a way that it will be more clearer. Let me just rub this one. And 10, okay. So we can write the points under, we can say thinking outside of box. Thinking outside the box. So that is means why we are saying you solve problems in an conventional way. That is why now we are saying solving problems in an conventional ways. Conventional ways. Also, you can say apply new and unusual ways. Apply new and unusual ways. Unusual ways. Apply new and unusual ways. That is finding novel solution to problems. This is where we are saying finding novel solutions to problem. Solutions to problems. So that is that. You can even make an example where we say a retail store uses virtual reality to showcase products, enhancing customer experience and increasing what? Increasing sales. So another point is what? Generating ideas. Generating ideas. That is where we are creating solutions to business problems. Creating solutions to business problems. Creating solutions to business problems. That is that. So now we are to go to the question which says, explain the problem solving cycle. Now we are going to talk about what? Problem solving cycle. Problem solving cycle. So explain the problem solving cycle. So we know the problem solving cycle involves, it involves the following. So it involves what? Whereby now we are to do what? To identify the problem. We are going to do what? We are going to identify the problem. We are going to identify the problem wherever we recognize the issue. We have to recognize the issue, recognize the issue, then also define the problem. Find the problem. However, we are trying by all means to clearly articulate the problem. Clearly articulate the problem. Clearly articulate the problem. Clearly articulate the problem. Now comes to identify possible causes. Identify possible causes. This is where we determine the root cause. Determine the root cause. Also, we have to identify alternative solution. Identify alternative solutions. This is where now we are going to generate potential solution. Are going to generate potential solutions. Also, now we are to evaluate now. Evaluate alternative solution. Evaluate alternative solutions. Wherever now we're talking about assess the pros and cons, which is advantages and disadvantages. Assess pros and cons of each solution. Of each solution. Of each solution. Now again, you choose the best solution. Choose the best solution. Choose the best solution. So by now you select the most suitable solution. Most suitable solution based on criteria. Like time, cost, and risk. So that is that. So that is the problem solving that we are talking about. So now we have to move on to another question. So the other aspect says discuss how business can apply brainstorming as a problem solving technique. So now we're going to talk about the application of the brainstorming. Application of the brainstorming. Of the brainstorming. Application of the brainstorming. So here we can talk about whereby first in the brainstorming you have to define the business problem clearly. Define the business problem clearly so that all participants, stakeholders understand the problem. So they have to understand the problem. That is a topic. So you need to define the topic clearly so that all the participants that are going to know, they are going to know what they are going to plan on or the problem that they are to solve so that they can come up with correct ideas which are related to the problem. That is that. So also set a time limit for each brainstorming session. Set a time limit for each brainstorming session. For each brainstorming session. So you have to set the time to say that we are going to take an hour for everyone to bring up his or her ideas. So that is very important to do that. Time is very important. So another one, write the ideas down. Write the ideas down where all participants can see it. Write ideas down where all participants can see it, where all participants, where all participants can see, where all participants can see it. So you write the ideas down where all participants can see it. So that is that. So ideas may be also shared online during an e-brainstorming session. It is possible. Do not criticize or judge the ideas. Do not judge or criticize or discuss the ideas. Do not judge or criticize. Do not judge or criticize the ideas. Or criticize ideas. So you don't have to judge or criticize what the ideas, so that many ideas could be generated as quickly as possible. To allow the ideas to be generated as quick as possible. Avoid judging the ideas when people are bringing out their ideas. That is very important. Now you're not going to judge. All members of the group randomly make suggestions. All members of the group randomly, all members of the group randomly make suggestions. So that is how we can apply the brainstorming. So now we are moving on to recommend ways in which business can create environment that stimulates creative thinking. Well, now we're going to talk about recommend ways in which business can create an environment that stimulates creative thinking. So we are going to talk about ways in which business can create an environment, ways in which business can create an environment, that stimulates creative thinking. That stimulate creative thinking. That stimulate creative thinking. So that is what we are to talk about. So when you talk about ways in which business can stimulate creative thinking. So the first we can say encourage staff to come up with new ideas. So you encourage staff to come up with new ideas. New ideas. That is how we can stimulate creative thinking. You encourage staff to come up with new ideas, opinions, and solutions. Also, make time for brainstorming sessions to generate new ideas. Make time for brainstorming sessions. Brainstorming sessions to generate new ideas. To generate new ideas. That is that. Make time for brainstorming session to generate new ideas. Also, place suggestion box around the workplace. Place suggestion box around the workplace. Around the workplace. And keep communication channels open for new ideas. That is that. And also you can again encourage alternatives way of working. Encourage alternatives ways of working. Alternatives ways of working. Encourage alternative working or doing things. So now we are to conclude now. Now we are to give what conclusion of question 6. So you can conclude it this way. Creative thinking, and say creative thinking can help a lot of business to succeed. Can help a lot of business to succeed. So that's all. Get your 2 marks. So thank you very much for your time. Make sure that you are going to use this essay as to help you for upcoming preparatory examinations. So make sure again that you're going to share with those who are concerned. And don't forget to hit the subscription button. Don't forget to hit what? The subscription button. Thank you very much.